So
I'm actually well traveled.
Yeah, this sort of because I've hung out almost my entire life with a bunch of country boys who live out in the boonies.
Yeah, he's always their token minority.
Yeah, I'm the token minority.
Your buddies make it out to the March for Our Lives walks today?
I don't think anybody I know was there.
No, they didn't make it out. That's surprising.
The only people that I know who might have been there would be there for the express purpose of trolling.
Right. Trolling in real life.
I mean, that's something, if I had the time, if I didn't have a freaking wife and kid that I had to hang out with today, if it was just me, I might have been there doing that.
You know what's funny?
So giant flag with a gun on it, waving it around.
I know it's everyone's man. I know it's everyone's favorite like site to hate, but there's Liberty Hangout did a video not long ago. It was pretty recent. What's that? I know. No.
It started getting a little better, but
well, I mean, look, anyone's opinion of them aside, right? I'm not even going to get into that. Just they did make a really funny video, though. I gotta give them credit here. It's about gun control. That I think a few of them are either go to the campus or are really close to a campus, so they go there a lot to talk to students. And they went there and they talked to students about gun control, and it was pretty hilarious. Like they had pictures of guns on this thing. They're like, "Show us where the AR-15 is," and everyone was like, "Oh, that's like." No one got any of it right. There was no AR-15 on the picture, but everyone get it was. It's good. It's good.
Didn't
it's not
even Crowder do something just like that.
No, so I know the video you're talking about. I did see clips of it. I didn't know it was from them, but
yeah.
So, what are we gonna do if any of these killers get smart and think, an AK-47, an IED, dear God, like a well-made IED?
I don't think they're smart enough for that. They'll probably blow themselves up too, which is good for all of us.
So there's something we haven't talked about. The dude that blew himself up in Austin and killed a bunch of people with his bombs.
Sure.
That was not something I saw coming.
Now, this is something that it didn't get a whole lot of news coverage. I mean, it was out there, but not as much as this Parkland thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
well, and I just want to say really quick before we move on, right? So you had said, God forbid someone got their hands on like an IED or something really dangerous. Like, so you got Paddock, the Vegas guy. Mm-hmm. That his intention was to go full scale advanced like that. Like, I don't know if you read a bunch of the stuff. So there was a car parked at the the Pyramid. Is it the Luxor? Whatever the Pyramid Casino is, the hotel casino out there. I don't know what it's called. I'm a total Vegas noob. Sorry. But his car was parked out there, and he had a grip of tannerite in there. Right. And so the initial plan, I don't know if you heard, but so there was bullet holes across the way from where the concert was. There was an airport that had these giant tanks of jet fuel, and there were bullet holes. So he shot at those first. All right. So his intention then clearly was to take his car and put it next to those tanks, shoot the car, blow up the jet fuel, make an explosion, send everybody coming toward him. And then it's just like fish in a barrel. Right. Because everyone's running toward him because the explosion was behind them. So that was his plan. And it just goes to show, like, even with advanced stuff, the stuff isn't easy. What he did clearly wasn't his initial plan, albeit horrible regardless. But just because stuff, I guess my point is just because stuff exists doesn't mean everyone can just grab it and use it.
It's one of those things, like when you're in the military, they always say that everybody has a plan. I think it was actually Muhammad Ali that said this, right? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And then it all goes out the window.
I always heard it in the military as no plan survives first contact.
Nope. It's always the way it is.
Sounds pretty accurate. Yeah.
I mean, somehow we always get back to the gun debate. We always end up back here.
And it's like the least interesting thing to talk about because it's all been done before.
Well, it's rough though, and it's super rough as a libertarian because it's like you get these people like David Hogg and all these kids are basically the first ones I don't know if you've heard some of the rhetoric, I'm sure you have, coming from Hogg, but he's basically saying that like the government is full of old people who are antiquated, out of touch, and don't know at all what anyone wants, but then at the same time they're turning around and advocating for those people to have control over their defense and over the regulations. It's which one do you want?
Is?
What's that?
You know who Owen Benjamin is? comedian.
Man, that sounds familiar.
He's a libertarian-ish comedian that goes on Steven Crowder a lot.
Yeah, he's the guy that got in trouble for saying that like 5-year-olds shouldn't have sex changes.
Yeah,
he got in trouble for that.
Why? That's a different podcast, but sure.
Yes. So he has a video he has a series called "It's Time," and one of them is called "It's Time to Give Our Guns to Hitler." And it's all these people kind of making fun of the argument of Trump is literally Hitler,
so let's give him the guns.
Our guns to him.
Right.
It is the most beautiful thing.
Right.
I love that video.
Trump is Hitler, but only he can protect us.
Right.
Right, of course.
So how slow does your mental process bridge that gap?
I couldn't tell you.
Like, that seems so obvious. Like, you don't want to give your guns to the government because, like, if you're a Democrat, why would you want to? Your party isn't in power.
Right. So I think this is interesting. And boy, I didn't intend on getting racial here. But, I mean...
it's an important element of this discussion.
Yeah, you're gonna get called a Nazi for it, and
we're a token minority. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm the token minority here, so you're good. You can see what.
No, sure. I just think that it's another one of those policies that just ends up being like more racist than anything. It's the gun control one is rough because you have a lot of people that don't understand stuff, and I feel like most of these people that are so convinced and they're making these arguments are people that don't have to worry about why someone would need a gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a bunch of pasty kids from Florida who probably haven't dealt with this shit in their whole entire lives, and they're the ones saying like people don't need to have guns, right? And like, why don't you sit down and talk to someone who actually has one, and it's important to their self-defense, and it's important for them. Like they're talking about, I mean, people are absolutely irresponsible. They're talking about raising the age from 18 to 21, and like a lot of people have mentioned this, and correctly so. There's a slew of 18 to 20-year-old single moms out there who you just put at a market disadvantage. Yeah.
Look, guns are to the benefit of women because guns are an equalizer. You are not, if Elfie and I, my fiance and I, are in a dispute and I wasn't just a teddy bear and I was actually going to be violent, that gun is her salvation because she cannot stop me any other way. Like she's 5'2" and her muscle, like I have more muscle, and muscle density on a male is what, 60% more?
There's something is high.
Like guns are for women and weak men to be able to balance the power against men who do not need them.
There was this MMA fighter I remember who was making this case that guns are for cowards. I'm like, dude, you could take 95% of the people on this planet with your bare hands. Yeah. Most of us don't have that. Don't have that going for us. Like I
hate fighting. Like I don't want to break my hand on someone's jaw. I'm a wimp. You come in my house, you're catching at least 8 rounds because I don't want to deal with it.
Well, so another interesting thing here, and it's something that no one else mentions when they talk about, I guess since we're on gun control,
here we go.
So, hey, by the way, I'll give you a plug. Go to think-liberty.com. I've got a couple interesting articles about gun control. I really like getting into the data and the analytics of it. And in doing so, you realize things like when you look at all of these data sets and all this information, you realize that, so what's going on? What does the media do? They share a bunch of information that's collected about gun ownership in the United States, and then they try to use it as a reason that we need gun control. But the problem is that the statistics and the data that they're sharing, they have nothing to do with the people that they're trying to take care of with regulation. The statistics that they're sharing are legal, law-abiding citizens that own guns. Mm-hmm. For the most part, when they talk about percentage of people that own guns or percentage of how many of those are handguns, how many of those are assault rifles, and they're using these as, oh, look, we've got like, this is so many guns in America per this and this, and we have a giant problem. These are not the people that you need to worry about. The people that are showing up in reports that are other than violence reports are not the people that you need to worry about. What you need to find out is how many guns out there that people have that aren't registered, but you're never gonna, because criminals do what criminals do. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you're making legislation based on the statistics that you have about the people that are following the rules and the laws. Right? I was arguing about it with someone earlier today, and they were trying to bring up the 1934 legislation, right, for automatic weapons like it mattered. Right? In 1934, most of the people that had fully automatic weapons were criminals. Right? And so the law was
the Thompson, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So the law was specifically created to address this issue that you had with criminals. And right, and they're trying to tell me that because that worked, then you have the same reason to go ahead and you now can be justified to do the same thing with semi-automatic weapons. But the complete difference that no one's realizing is that the majority of people that own semi-automatic weapons are not criminals. Right? This is legislation that punishes people that are law-abiding citizens. It's all completely ridiculous. I don't know. I get all worked up. I'm sorry.
And it just goes to show you how out of touch these people are with people who actually own and need weapons. Because I remember during those 2 minutes of hate that CNN put on, the spokeswoman for the NRA, I can't remember her name. Yeah, she brought up a story about a woman who was raped and now carries a firearm with her because she needs it for protection. She was booed for that. Like, how dare you bring up of somebody?
But Democrats are for women.
Yeah, how dare you bring up a victim of a violent crime who now carries a weapon to ensure that she's never a victim of that crime again. And you want to take that away from her. Now, Marco Rubio is not the bad guy in that situation for wanting to protect the Second Amendment. All those people in that crowd,
Rubio was protecting the Second Amendment.
Well, I just think it's what a world we live in where we're like, you stop picking on Marco Rubio.
Oh my goodness, you're all right about that. I mean, but more so at least than everybody else in that room.
But so the thing about Rubio is that he immediately came and was like, yeah, we don't need AR-15s. Like, little Marco, shut up.
Sit down. Yeah, take a nap, Rubio. We don't need you here.
He's got those big hands. Maybe he doesn't need an AR-15.
Yeah, he could be there to help Trump. They even each other out, right?
Yeah. He can be the guy from the Burger King commercials. Like, I'll hold it for you.
Oh my God! I'm so glad you remember that commercial. No one remembers that commercial. When they go, oh, it's so funny when they talk about like Trump's hands, and I'll make the joke, and I'm like, I just got these little hands, and everyone's like, it's not registering. I don't understand. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I know your struggle because I do the same joke all the time.
Right, and everyone's like, I don't know what you. Oh man,
we just connected on like a soul level.
It's true. It's true. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you've seen that. So, yeah. No, it's bad. I guess the gun control thing. The reason it always gets back there is because there's no progress being made. Mm. There's no progress being made on any of it. You know,
well, that's not even true though, because gun violence is down for the last 20 plus years.
No, I mean in the conversation, like effectiveness of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the same points.
It's to the point where we're just going to have to stand up and say, "Look, come and take it," because we're done talking.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it's because that's how passionate a lot of people are getting. You know, people get so worked up, and they're not seeing logic and reason.
Over under civil war in the next 20 years.
Oh God, I hope it's not a thing. But I mean, I don't know, dude.
You were saying you hoped it was. Like, you're in a bad part of town. You need to move before it happens.
No, I'm certainly not in a great place for a civil war if you're talking about sides.
You're gonna have all these demisexuals who've never done a push-up in their life, who've never even seen a weapon. They're gonna be going up against former Marines from the Midwest.
Well, okay, so here's the worst part about like the Bay Area and all this stuff is you got a bunch of, like I said, like most of the people that are into this kind of stuff are just not. I don't know. You go to places like Oakland and you go to places like the Tenderloin in San Francisco and like
the Tenderloin.
It's called the Tenderloin. It's you know, about the roughest part of the city. It's really brutal. And crime is just super bad there. And it's just, I just find it funny because there's a bunch of people pushing a bunch of policy that says that it's for people in bad situations and in rough cities. But they're nowhere to be found in those cities. And those people in those bad situations could care less about politics. It's odd. Like when you talk about the rubber hitting the road in some of these neighborhoods, I think that people who aren't political and are just angry and violent far outnumber those that are political and they just want unicorns and free college for everybody.
I mean, who doesn't want a free unicorn? I mean, Vermin Supreme's going to get us that, so maybe we should all just support him. Ponies.
He's going to get us free ponies.
Yeah, he's going to give us free ponies.
You will never be able to come to my house and not find a unicorn prominently displayed. It is my thing.
Is that what you were pointing to? Do you have a unicorn?
Yeah, I have a green unicorn over on this.
He's got this little plush thing right here.
Are you a unicorn fan?
Yeah, just put that right.
Yeah, dude. So here's the thing.
Right
when I was growing up, I learned to read on the Chronicles of Narnia.
Okay.
So while other people think unicorns and think like My Little Pony or some lame stuff like that, I think Jewel from The Last Battle, who was like a war veteran and was just raffle stomping people in this fight, is like, dude, why would you ride into battle on a horse when you can ride into battle on a freaking mythical beast with a horn that can cure poison? What's wrong with you?
See, when I think of unicorns, I always think of that YouTube video. Come to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Oh no!
Getting
So how many times have you just to get it back to this tariffs get me so worked up? How many times have you heard the argument that the founding fathers supported tariffs? You heard that a bit?
I've heard it a couple times. No.
I actually don't hear that argument personally.
I've heard it a couple times. It's not very often though.
It's funny. It's funny that people make it think, oh yeah, well, the founding fathers supported tariffs, so they're not that bad. I mean, look, you want to go on and on about how tariffs are antithetical to liberty, but you know,
some of them supported slavery too. Like we've grown past bad ideas.
Right. And not only that, we were at a point too to where the tariffs were the only way that the federal government was funded.
Yeah.
You see, if that was still the case, I wouldn't be so down on tariffs.
Yeah.
If every other tax was gone, I mean, okay,
I'll make that trade.
You can make the tariffs.
If you weren't already in a financial gauntlet being attacked at every single angle, then it might be a different story. Yeah. And it absolutely was when the founding fathers had put tariffs into place, because that was the only way the government was funded. They had to get paid somehow, and they weren't about to go try fucking with taxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know that
demonetized. Dropping that F-bomb.
Just the and it's capitalism itself. Like Adam Smith wrote The Wealth of Nations in 1776. Everything leading up to that was mercantilism and serfdom. So that's
the only libertarian book I've ever read.
Out of all the books, you read that one?
I know. I'm shocked every time I
didn't read it all either. I know what he was talking about.
I mean, economics in one lesson is like that thick.
Right. That's so
Wealth of Nations is like this.
Out of all the libertarian books that are out there, you go with Adam Smith.
It was for an econ class.
Sure.
So you were forced to do it. Okay, I see.
I mean, it was. I couldn't recall most of it now. It's all kind of ingrained into the rest of my ideology, so I couldn't separate it from everything else. But
yeah,
I read it when I was taking an econ class. It was while I was I'd already been a libertarian, but I was starting to become more, I guess, radicalized at that point. So it kind of hit me at that right time, I suppose.
That's kind of like the liberty puberty phase when you start getting more radical. Right. Like you start out Ron Paul, and then you read some Rothbard or something, and then all of a sudden you go, my voice just got a little bit deeper. I mean, for me, oddly enough, it was reading Ayn Rand that made me a bit more radical than I was before. And I mean, she's more radical than most people, but most ANCATs would be like, Rand, radical? Pfft, man, get on my level.
Are you still a fan of Rand's?
Oh yeah, I still love Rand. I'm still a big fan of hers, and the biggest reason is that Ayn Rand's takedowns are second to none. When she wants to go after somebody, she just destroys them on an epic level, and I appreciate that level of trolling.
It was pretty brutal. Yeah. Yeah, a couple of them were pretty ferocious when you get down to the philosophers, and they were quick to talk about it too.
Yeah, I'm still a big Ayn Rand fan, but I mean, what were we talking about before?
Well, so it's 10:40 here. I'm old. I need to get to bed. I still have a bunch of stuff to do tomorrow.
Fair enough. And you had a convention too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the wife's gonna be mad at me if I stay for too much longer.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having a good time, right?
Yeah, it's been a great talk. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Absolutely, I agree.
Plug your stuff real quick.
Yeah, think-liberty.com is our website. We've got the Think Liberty podcast on there and the Think Liberty Network with Liberty Bites and Freedom on the Rocks. We've got some debates on there too. It's just a bunch of stuff that we put on the podcast feed, so go check it out. And then there's facebook.com/thinkliberty.tl. Twitter is think_liberty. We have more stuff, but just go to any one of those first and you can find all the other ones.
Absolutely. And then for getting ready for tonight, I listened to a bunch of your episodes, and they're actually, I listened to like the first one and didn't think it was that great, but then I went back the other day and listened to some of your newer ones. And they've gotten a lot better.
Yeah, you used to suck, but you're not so bad.
Got to start somewhere. I mean, and like the hardware, like
our
I didn't know.
First episodes
were sucked too. So I mean, yeah, I think everyone kind of sucks starting out, and then they get
we
better.
still
Or we're the worst, which is
No,
the
you guys
worst
are great.
podcast on mine.
I like this live format. We might need to start doing this more.
It's fun, and I mean, you guys' podcast is great. I go listening to it too, and don't worry, that's no offense taken. You got to get the boat in the water, right? Start somewhere, and try to improve on the way. I don't even like listening to the old ones now. I hate that they're up there, but I'm not going to take them down. So.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Liberty Bites you guys had, and just short 6-minute.
We've been wanting to do so when I actually go to edit this, I'm going to try to edit it into 3 parts, so we can drop 1 part, 2nd part, 3rd part, full video at the end of the week. Kind of like how Ruben does it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because watching like an hour, and this one's going to be like an hour and 20 minutes, like an hour-long podcast is really rough sometimes.
Yeah, most of ours are usually an hour.
Now we really got it.
We're in it now. Caitlin just reacted to it.
We really got it. Okay.
We got to go longer now that Caitlin's watching.
Okay, everybody. Just remember to get a full list of our episodes, go to roads2liberty.com, roads2liberty.com.
Merch store coming soon. I'm going to design some T-shirts. It's going to have I'm not even going to tell you.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We're up on YouTube and minds.com. Didn't you put us in a new platform?
Steemit and DTube, which are kind of together. If you're not using Steemit, you're wrong.
Yeah, get off of YouTube. All us libertarians and conservative-minded people need to get off YouTube because they are trash. So the faster everyone moves to DTube, and the more and they
monetize differently on DTube, so it's really interesting. Are you guys on there?
We're not, no, but I'm gonna go look into it now.
Ever.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah.
Every libertarian uses the blockchain now.
Yeah.
Even though 90% of us don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
Okay, everybody, we're gonna call that a night. Thank you, Vinny, for coming on the program. This has been a great.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. We're gonna have to do more collaborations going forward. We can
less alcohol fouls.
No, more alcohol.
No, more alcohol, but less fouls.
I finished this little thing. I finished this little thing before we even started. So
he's trying to invite us to a podcast. You're just rambling on. What's wrong with you?
No, it's okay. You're still invited, even if he's talking.
I mean, that's what you come on a podcast for, right? To talk.
That's right.
All right. So for what's his face over here, and for Vinny, I'm Zach. Have a good week, everyone.